smooth as silk, creamy as creamy as cream. As cream. Hello. Yes, I'm sorry. I know I look like death warmed up. I appreciate that. Let me know in the comments if you can see and hear me all right. Click. 1, 2. Yeah, I seem to have got greens and stuff going on. Hey, how you doing? Hey, it's a long time no see. This is a little bit impromptu, a little bit sort of last minute. I'm sorry about that. I do like to plan these things a bit better if I can. But hey, I do not have that life anymore. My life has been taken away from me and been replaced by a great big ball of energy. Sound and visual operational. Thanks, Ken. Thank you for that. I'm not particularly operational, I have to say. The reason being is that for some reason we got it into our heads after many, many years, I have to say, of saying, there's no way I'm doing that. Hang on a second. I've got the most enormous fly I've ever seen. There we go. Oh, hey! Thanks, Steve. That's very kind. What a great way to start the thing. Who was I saying? Oh, it's some kind of moany old rubbish about how troublesome my life is, I expect. Nobody really wants to hear about that. But anyway, for some reason, we decided that having a puppy would be a great idea. Something we should have done years and years and years ago and never quite got around to, because I just don't think of myself as a doggy sort of person. And, they generally annoy me, I think. Just, sorry, is it a sound I'm trying to... Never mind. Yes, but over the years, I've softened to the idea to the point that it came to a head that if we don't do it now, we're just never going to, because our kids are growing up. Our youngest now is 13, and if we don't do it now, then they are going to miss out on that opportunity to enjoy a dog while they're at home. So we did. So we picked this thing up a week ago now. And it's been terrifically difficult. I had no idea. It is very much like having a baby. I mean, this is a 12-week-old Sprocker Spaniel, and it's crazy and adorable. But yes, it's like having a child, but without the maternity or paternity leave. So you are trying to do your job at the same time as having to give this animal almost 24-hour care. So this past week I've had no sleep of any kind, because I've had to let the dog out, or sort the dog out, or calm the dog down, or give it a cuddle, or all day, all night pretty much, and then work out what the heck are you doing during the day, rescuing everything, stopping things getting completely destroyed, building places for it to run into. When is it going back? No, that's it. We've apparently we've got it for life now. So there we go. So that is my life. I'm now a doggy person, hence the hair and disheveled general look. I've probably got my wellies on and my barber jacket ready to go out for yet another flipping standing around in the cold while it doesn't have a wee. Because like any normal person, the dog really likes to have a wee inside in the warm, where it's nice, rather than having everything hanging out in the freezing cold. I don't blame it for a second. I don't blame it. So anyway, and on top of that, I also managed to finally catch the cold that's been trying to get me since September, I think it is. So it finally hit me last week. So not only was I sleep deprived with the dog, I was also streaming and coughing and going ahead. So I wasn't able to go to the EMOM on Thursday, or do this live stream on Wednesday as I'd actually planned. Which is a real shame, because it was like the 50th EMOM or something. It would have been very cool to be there, and I just was in no fit state at all, which is a shame. Anyway, I'm feeling a bit better now. You can probably still hear it in my voice. I'm still a little bit croaky. Split my lip as well from being all dried out. So, c'est la vie and all that. Carpe diem or something. I don't know. Something foreign sounding is where we are now. Anyway, it's now only 2 weeks till Synth East. Is it? Shit, yeah, it's only 2 weeks to Synth East. And I have a lot of work to do with a lot of things. I have a lot of work to do generally. But I also have work to do in getting my rig together for Synth East and getting a bit of practice in. Because not only am I playing the patch off, which is largely improvised, so I just need something I can play. I'm also playing in the main gig with Paulie Bow. And I want to have something just a bit more prepared if I can. That's a plan, and I have a few ways I'm going to be handling that. I think in perhaps saving a couple of sequences and using those, and actually sort of having a foundation to for 10 minutes or something, and working on that. I know that Paulie's going to bring some stuff as well, and we'll sort of riff off each other is the idea. So I mean, in my mind, I'm expecting if I can start something intentionally and keep that going for about 10 minutes, and then we can play around on that. And then Paulie Bow can introduce something and a change, maybe a change of pace, and we can play around that for a bit. And then we can just like go crazy for the last 10 minutes. That sounds like a half an hour show to me. That should be fun. So that's what I'm trying to do. So this evening, or before I go into what this evening, let's just have a look in the chat and see who's about. Since coming off Restream, everything's sort of simpler and yet more complicated. How many is that? Doesn't say. Well, the other thing tells... Oh, no, don't do that. Okay. What am I talking about? I don't know. I'm thinking now of doing reviews of doggy apps. I think that's probably where the future lies, because there's evidently a shed load of money in it. Gee whiz, the adverts and the constant hard sell I'm being given now through social media about solving every single doggy problem that you'd ever heard of, and some that you haven't. It's quite extraordinary. So I should be reviewing those, I think. That's where this channel is going to go. Anyway, great to have you with us. This isn't a regular chat. I think I'm just going to start sort of talking out loud about my rack and going through it, what I'm going to keep, what I'm not going to keep. Going to do that in a minute. So that's what this evening is about, and hopefully have a bit of a chat in that as well. Good to see everybody here. Nikki Gray, Nick, Ken, Canada Dogs, hi. Andrew, good to see you. Steve, yeah, and thanks for that, Steve. I do appreciate it. Synth East 3, yeah. Cool. Oh, I am Synths. Rob, hi, good to see you. Nice. Tonal access. I see. Might be something of yours coming in this evening, because it might save me like 4 HP. And every HP is vital. So that's a possibility. I'll see if I can find it. Giant Banana. No, Grant Basma. Beg your pardon. How good to see you. Path Lake. Earthly Adopters. That's an interesting name. Coastal Electronauts. Hey. Good to see you all. Thanks ever so much for turning up. Like I say, it's a bit last minute. I wasn't expecting a huge audience, but it's lovely to see you. Hope you shake the cold. Yeah. You fell down the stairs? God, dear. Mate. It's time for people like you and I to get bungalows. What is going on with that? I don't know. Well, you'll be pleased to hear I'm getting a haircut next week. In fact, that was the one thing that worked out this week, is I was supposed to have a haircut on Wednesday, but they had to cancel for various reasons. They had a power cut or something, which is great, because I was like just gunk pouring out of my face at the time and smelling very much like a wet dog. So that's good. But I'm going to have a haircut this week, so I'll get myself sorted, hopefully, for Synth East in a couple of weeks. Right, good. Don't do anything silly there. Okay, good. Right, good. I'm in control. Yes, I am. So this isn't going to go on for too long because I'm knackered. But I mean, I'm pleased to report that last night I was able to. I slept on our spare bed in the living room with the dog in the kitchen by itself and went through the night. Now, I know there's 100 different ways of looking after puppies and training puppies and all those sorts of things, but the way that I've adopted is just the way that I'm going. And so I've spent every night with the dog so far, with the dog in its crate and me very, very nearby, slowly getting further away in order to wean them off. The idea being, if you just stick a frightened puppy in a crate and leave it, it's going to howl all night and be very upset. So that's not what I want. So I'm sort of throwing myself into the sacrificial position of just looking after this thing and giving it the best time I can possibly give it, I think, is the plan. But hopefully tonight I'll be able to get back in my own bed, which would be amazing if that actually comes off. Because the little thing has been really good at the crate training, which is vital, because I spent the whole of last week having to try to work in the kitchen, which is all right when I'm writing. That's okay, which I did a lot of. Did a lot of careers in music last week. And so that, that worked as best as it could. But I need to be in here because I need to be fiddling with stuff and testing stuff out. I've got a whole bunch of new stuff to be testing out. So, the dog is going to have to be happy in its crate for a couple of hours at a time. And that's what we're working on at the moment. So hopefully we'll get there. Jason, good. Hi. Good to see you. So, I'm just going to finish my coffee a little bit. But what I will do... How am I going to do this? Do I need to bring this out of the way entirely? Maybe I do. Maybe that's going to help. Then I can bring that down a little bit. Or see, there's no. All right. So the plan for this evening, so I can then get, because my mind's already churning on it. The plan for this evening is to look at my case and see how I can improve it in order to take the best variety and interest with me to Synth East in order to perform with it. I don't want to take two cases. Now, last year, or was it the first year? No, the first year. The first year, I took my clamshell rack brute, so 2 lots of stuff. That was great, but I didn't use anywhere near all of it. And so I felt that it was perhaps a little bit too much, and it's really heavy to carry. So while it's good, it's a good bunch of stuff, and you do have a lot that you can do with it, it's so heavy to carry. So I want to, if I can, use a single case, one of these, which I did last year. But as I say, this year I've got a little bit more to do. So I want to see if I can pack it correctly to give me enough. I think I can. But that ain't going to be easy. Good golly, no. So I'm thinking there might be some things I can shift off. There might be some things I can replace. There might be some better choices I can make, and things that I just don't, that are superfluous. But there's not a whole lot about that. But those are the sort of things we're going to talk about, I think. Because I like a lot of what I've got. And I also have other things I'd like to have in there. But it may well be that I'll take this case and a single row. I'm not taking 2 cases. No way am I taking 2 cases. But I could take a case and perhaps a row which is like got a sequencer in, a mixer, that kind of thing. That might be a compromise or a possibility. So I'd quite like to get the Castor and Pollux in. I'd really like to get the Plasma voice in. This is going to be flipping impossible. But hey, start with the things that you can change. And see where it takes you. Got to be brutal as well. There will not be a disting. But now, see, I say that, but I'm missing at the moment. I'm missing an alternative tone. I've got a couple of synth voices, 3, possibly 2 or 3 synth voices, which is great. But I've kind of fallen out of love with the Surface, which I used to use a lot as a stringy, plucky sound, which is great because it just brings a different vibe. It brings a different thing. There's still a noise in here. I think it might just be my heater. But as I say, I've fallen out of love with the Surface. So the alternative is one of those sort of weird lo-fi soft pianos out of the disting. But do I really want to do that? because I don't know that I want to do that. What I would like as a module is a relatively small, I mean, I assume it would be on a Teensy or a Pico, something like that, which is just like a Rhodes piano, a nice Rhodes piano with perhaps a built-in delay, built-in vibrato, that kind of thing. I mean, we've gone through a lot of talking about having VSTs running on modules, but did that actually really ever come to pass? I mean, we've now got the Meta module, which runs VCV rack, but that's slightly different. I would like to see almost like a blank module that you can load up, a sizable sample-based instrument. No, maybe it would run Contact. Maybe it would run Decent Sampler. Could you run Decent Sampler on a module? Now, you do all the shenanigans on your computer and then just dump the sound across. I just want the sound. I don't need 50 sounds on it. I don't need 100 sounds on it. I just actually want one sound on it. And as I say, with perhaps some effects, so that I don't have to have yet another module to do that, although, of course, that's always a possibility. Yeah, maybe a couple of controls. Yeah, maybe envelope. But to have, a sound source. I mean, I'll make one. I will make one if somebody can show me how. Put that together. How can we get Decent Sampler or something of that sort across to a module in order to get it to play? It doesn't have to be polyphonic. I mean, it'd be nice if it sustains. You could have an input for a chord. A bit like the polycinematic or the piano. What's it? In fact, actually, that's probably the answer, isn't it? The answer is the knobular piano thingy. That's probably it. But again, I'm thinking of something just a little bit simpler that I could dump Decent Sampler in with a sound bank, bosh, and you're off. If it had everything that Decent Sampler could do. That would be great. Because, the problem you often see with these sorts of modules is that, I want to load every single VST that I have, every single virtual instrument. And no, that's not really it. I don't want to run, pigments particularly, but I would like to run a different sound. I would like to have a piano. I would like to have a Rhodes piano. I would like to have, a tuba. And if you could set those up so that they're just available with some effects, I think that could be a really useful thing. Because in a live set, you don't want to, sweep through a general MIDI set. Because I know that there are those sorts of things are available. There's a couple of general MIDI modules. Again, Expert Sleepers do one. I mean, maybe that's the answer because there are some electric pianos and stuff on there. Maybe that's it. Just feel that perhaps the quality on those little general MIDI modules is not stupendous, but maybe it's enough. Hey, if anybody out there makes a module similar to what I'm talking about, even if it is a general MIDI one that has those sorts of sounds that I could dial in, that would be interesting. That would be interesting for different reasons. Different reasons than what I thought before. Anyway, my coffee's getting cold, which means I need to probably get on with what I'll be doing before time runs away. So I don't plan to be here until 10 o'clock if I can help it. Let's see how we can go in the next half hour to an hour. I mean, I might want to play with it, I suppose, afterwards. There's always that danger. Are we plugged in over there? We are. One sec. Now would be a good time to insert some ads. No, it really wouldn't. No, it really wouldn't. Ugh. Right, how am I going to do this then, so that you're not just looking at my tummy? Let's poke that over there. Okay, I'm just going to fiddle with the mic. I apologise ahead of time. What am I going to do with you? Maybe I'm going to have to move you across a little bit. Oh dear, oh dear. Is that working? Have I blown myself up yet? No? Okay, everything's still going. What am I going to do with you? Come on. Can you go back any further? No, apparently you can't. If I go way over there, is that going to work? Yeah, maybe. Obviously I hadn't thought this through, right? Sorry about that. Okay. All right. All right, that's a bit better, I think. Okay, so this thing here, right? Okay, now all we can do is see the micro. Oh, for gee, quite just kill me. Right. Okay. So sort yourself out, boy. Let's sort myself out. We've got these lovely little synthy things over here, which are super. What's that? USB. That's weird. Right, okay. Right, let's bring this down a little bit so we can see it. See if I can get it into frames. I don't have any multiple cameras set up today. That's into there. Is that alright? Is that vaguely in focus? And I'll try not to stand in front of it too much. Cool. The two Bufeco cases are not connected, no. No. Connected how? How would you connect them in what way? I mean, patch connections, sure. But I'm trying to do the single thing with a single thing. I also need to put this laptop somewhere else so I can see the chat. Let's stick it on the mixer because I don't ever do anything with that. Now it's too far away, I can't read it. If I'm slightly delirious, it's just because I haven't had much sleep. Okay. There are loads of controllers who can do that for 20 quid. Are there? Cool. See, the Disting NT is just too complex. I don't need all of what it is it's trying to give me. Crikey. Well, Ken, send me the details. Right, anyway, stop being more fascinated in what you're trying to do. So, okay, let me talk you through my case as it is right now, okay? Because that's a good place to start. So over here in the corner, I've got DivKid Oct, which is just giving me LFOs, modulation, things like that, which is cool. Is that all right? See that? Yeah, you can see that. So that's tending to stay, I think. Although, I mean, in some ways, I'd prefer the modulation to be a little bit more intentional, because it's not clocked to anything. It just kind of squirts out stuff. So you kind of put it in a little bit randomly, and sometimes that's good. Sometimes it isn't, you know. And also it's not scaled, so I then run it through my Molten motion meter. Now, sadly, one of the realizations I've come to is that this is not really earning its space in this rig. In a system as a whole, absolutely, yes. It's an awesome module. And I love the way it looks. It just sits there looking just beautiful. I love the fact that it's moving. It's great. It's fantastic. And I do use it with Oct quite a bit. They're good companions. But it's taken up all this space. And perhaps, I mean, I do have a Molten motion meter over here, which I use as a mixer, funnily enough, all the way over this side of things. Can I see? I don't know if you can see that. I'll come back to that anyway. So this is perhaps not really paying its way in this particular rig, because I don't really use it enough in order to do so. I could just put in a little trimmer or a little attenuator in order to do that. Now, the concept behind the motion meter is very, very valid, and I love it, and I know what it's doing, but I'm going to have to be perhaps brutally honest within this particular rig in trying to bring things down so that I can fit a few more things in. Does that make sense? Good. Glad you're still with me. Hey, let's turn this on and see if it's making any noise. Not that button. This button. Any noise? What? How about now? There's something there. Well, see, that's quite lovely, so why do I need to change anything at all? Oh, sod it, it's fine. Just go with that. Yeah, I quite like where I've come to with this case, I have to say. I quite like it. It's fun. It's immensely enjoyable to play with. It's simple. I kind of know where everything is, and I can play it, if that makes sense. I mean, it's just doing the same thing. It's not as if I'm doing anything radical, but it's just, it's just it's soft and pleasing electronic music. It's it's vaguely Tangerine Dream-esque. It's vaguely a few other things. It's just a couple of synth voices, a couple of analog drums, and a couple of effects. That's really it. So why would I want to break this in order to do something more? I guess is the question. I mean, I think what I would like to achieve, I'm going to replace the Molten Motion Meter with the sequencer version of the Arp of Darkness, because in the sequencer version I can store a bunch of sequences which I can then use for an intentional planned bit. It's funny, I'm speaking to the microphone as if it's the camera. The camera's over here, of course. It doesn't matter. So I think that's going to be useful. I was thinking of using something like the ASQ1, but that's a big chunky sequencer. I was then thinking of using the Seb Songs Polyseq, because you can store sequences in that. And that, I thought, now that's a possibility. But then I just love the simplicity of the Seventh Summoner, the module from Flat 6. Which I have here, just trying to get it for you. This fella. So this fella I think I'm going to stick in there alongside the ARP, because those two work really well together. I mean, all three of them work well, the sleight of hand as well also, but I can only fit two in the case. And with the Seventh Summoner, I have stored sequences I can use, and that I think is vital. The Arp of Darkness, you just tap in a few things and off it goes, and that is brilliant. Now, I have reservations about these two, purely in as much as it's a little bit pushing the wrong way with modular, at least been my experience. As in, what modular pushes me into doing normally is finding ways of doing sequencing interestingly or differently, or using generative, using randomization, all those sorts of things, rather than doing sequencing very intentionally. So what am I talking about? So these are very intentional. Very keyboard based, keyboard paradigm, very musical. And so I tend to shy away from that a little bit in modular, because I want things to be a little bit more weird and mysterious. However, in the context of a gig, they could be, I think, really useful. Rather than programming the whole thing into a big sequencer, this gives me a couple of things to work in, which I can then improvise around. I think that feels very comfortable. I think if I'm making music in a larger sense, then I would be more likely to use the Turing machine or some other sequencer which has given me something a little bit more random. I mean, something even like the Octone, because I don't know what I'm turning these knobs to, offers a more accidental approach to things. Are you seeing me? Are you seeing me? So that's what I'm feeling on that at the moment. Now, what I should do is take out things which I don't think are earning their place. I think that's probably a good place to start. So, Molten Motion Meter can definitely come out, very sadly, which also means I don't know that I'm going to be using the Oct, but I'm going to leave that for now. I don't have a way of attenuating it. However, having said that, many inputs for modulation to things have attenuators built in. So it ain't all that, But in particular, I don't want to have to stick another sequencer in because that's going to take up a load of space. I don't know currently whether to use both of these. I think the 16 steps I've found really quite remarkable in that it definitely brings something. I mean, obviously it brings something. But I've been very keen, generally speaking, on an 8-step sequencer. I don't mind 8 steps running around. I've enjoyed that for a long, long time. But having these 16 steps really does bring an extra something, an extra journey to what's going on. It's going on for longer. The tune is longer. It's less boring because it's not repeating quite so often. Well, it's not repeating half as much, you could say. So I like the fact that there's 2, but it is taking up a lot of space for a single line of something. So my lovely molten motion meter on this occasion is going to come out. Oh, I feel like part of my soul has died. Never mind. I can go in there. I'll come back to you later, all right, my love? Yes, okay. So this can go in here instead. Hopefully I don't do anything bad to it. I'll need to have a look at the sheet again because I can't always totally remember how to use it. Now that leaves me with a hole which is unsatisfactory, but I'm pretty sure I don't have anything quite the right size. I might have to have a look. But because I've put this in here, it could potentially replace the octone. You see, that's the other thing. I mean, when I talk about being brutal, maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's what's going to give me the space. But you know, see, the octone is so lovely, so lovely. See, I do want to get the plasma voice in because I think that can bring some drama, because I can use it both as percussion and as a lead or bass sound. See, that could fit there. Oh, it's a question. Anyway, as I was saying, let's take out the things which I don't think are really valuable at the moment. Now this thing here, the pinhole, this is a little low pass gate, which is useful. Yeah, see those, what do you call them? No, I forget. Things on the back that you can't see, don't ever see the light of day. So that can come out because, I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't really use VCAs anymore. I do have veils here and it's not ever patched in because I'm nearly always shaping with the filter, because the filter nearly always is being pulled down by an envelope which closes it, and I don't really see the need to shape the amplitude of that sound because it's being cut out by the filter. Do you see what I mean? So very quickly, VCAs, which you're supposed to never have enough of, suddenly become a bit superfluous. Now I know they can be used for adjusting the level of modulation, but again, in a live performance situation, you kind of want things to just go straight in. I don't want to be wandering and scaling and other bits and pieces mid gig. I'll be doing that if I've sat here and I'm trying to write music. That would be interesting. But within the chaos of a gig situation, I want things which are going to work. But on the other hand, it does become a useful mixer. But I have a mixer over here. Yeah. And I'm actually also thinking of getting hold of an alternative. No, I don't. I'm not allowed to buy any modules because I can't afford to buy any modules. So no buying of any modules is going to happen to me at the moment. Anyway, right. This is always going to be this way. So this could come out because it's currently not being used. So that's what I'm saying. Now here, if we're going to stay with the top row for the moment, this is the Black Stereo Delay 2. Let me angle this a bit better. Ow. So maybe you can see it a bit better. So in here, Black Stereo Delay 2. Gorgeous, lovely. All it's doing is giving me a delay. That's all it's doing. I mean, all of this garbage here, which is brilliant, because I'm using a Molten bypass, which are absolute flipping genius. I've got two of them here, both of these effects. They are fantastic. I love the bypass. Is such a brilliant idea, personally, for me. Nobody else seems to care, but for me, it's perfect. And I've got, so I've got the routing through one effect there, routing through the Echo Cinematic here. Both with the launch buttons, I'm just able to do that, and they turn on. They're beautiful. Beautiful they are. Anyway, however, I'm not using anything of this stereo delay. It could be a much, much simpler delay, which made me think of the Axis modular one, because that's got an interesting feedback knob. Just got to find it. Hang on. I've seen it. I have seen it. Just talk amongst yourselves. There it is. Now, sadly for this fella, it was sat next to the White Rabbit. I'm thinking, would the White Rabbit actually be more interesting? Although that button, the feedback button, is pretty cool. Is this stereo? It is not. The other one is. Oh, now I'm at a quandary. Do I care if it's stereo? Not really. Bum, 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 bum. All right, let's just go with it. Go with it. Go with it. So I'm going to take out this and actually reduce, as it's not in stereo, it will reduce the cabling a little bit. So that saved me what? As I say, about 4 HP. Could make all the difference. Could make all the difference. Let's shift this across. What's the trigger sequencer with the clacky key? Asks Matt. That is, my friend, the Detroit Pink 87. The extraordinarily named little trigger sequencer, which I have to say I'm finding terribly, terribly useful. Again, I like the idea of generating rhythms and probability and stuff involved in that, but the flipping ease of just being able to tap in a little rhythm and have it repeat is just glorious. Absolutely glorious. It has, what does it have? How many? 6 channels. 7, 8. 8 channels. You either do 16, 32 or 64 steps. Just stick it in record, tap the clacky button with it dialed to select the channel, and it does it. It does it. It just does it. I've then done some clever things, right, because I'm a little bit clever at times. Just a little bit. I'm routing it through the DivKid trace over here, and I'm sending it pulses from the Bit Buddy. See, it's getting complicated now. So I've got the Bit Buddy, which is sucking out triggers from the Turing machine, stuffing those into a channel on the trace. I've got the snare drum pattern coming from the Pink 87 into that, and I'm mixing between the two, so I get a flat snare, and then I get a snare kind of with fills and variations going on, which is really cool. And all of that is running through DivKid's mutes before it reaches the modules which are down here, which I'll get to. I'll get to that. Oh, hopefully I'll get to that if I've got flipping time. Time is already just disappearing. But the process has started, and that is something. That's definitely something. So with this fella in, let's just try it out, see what it sounds like. If I can find where it goes in. Somebody talked about my kick drum. What's wrong with my kick drum? I don't get that. Need a better kick drum? Do I? It's an 808. It's a classic 808 kick drum. Leave my kick drum alone. But I do, funnily enough, I do have an alternative that I might plug in. Look at this gap that I've created. Oh, that's pretty special. Now, what is it that goes into this? So I'm going to go into, let's take one side out. Because you can run this as 2 mono channels. Take that out of there. That's 2 effects. And from effects. And I've got to remember what it was that went through. What did I turn down? Turn down this. All right. So this one coming in from that filter. So with a bit of luck, that'll go through there. That's quite nice. I can hold the feedback button, this button here, in order to build that feedback, if you're with me. Woo! I think. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. And I like the way that works as well, because I've found using the bypass with some effects almost like need a buffer to work on. Deco Cinematic is a bit like that. You almost don't get it immediately. It needs to sort of chew upon it as it starts getting the signal. Excuse me. And then it starts to produce these wonderful tones. But this fell in there really nicely. Anyway, at one level, it's just a delay, and it's a nice delay, but, you know, occasionally I could reach in there in order to do a thing. And then that pulls away. That's quite nice. In fact, that works quite well with the bypass, because I can have nothing, then I can have something, then I can have more. Let that back out again. This is all a little bit too nuanced, I think, for a live performance, but you never know. But yeah, I'm happy with that as a choice, rather than the lovely but overly featured for this particular what I'm doing stereo black delay from Erica Synths. I mean, I could go down just to the Pico multi-effects. I've got a, what's it called? Pico thing. I've got one of those, which is just 3 HP, which is something I will consider. Okay, so moving along. So I've generated some space. That's good. It's not enough space yet, but it's some. We'll see how we do. So next up is the Echo Cinematic. Now this has definitely earned its position, I believe, in things, because it's an interesting and modulatable thing that you can just drop in, and it does nice things. It does really nice things. Let me see if I can demonstrate that by itself. So let's take that out, bring this other one back in. So this is coming from the weirdo knob technology oscillator that I really like. Anyway, if I launch through the Echo Cinematic, so it takes a moment, then it starts to pull things in, and you've got this moving EQ that's playing with the taps. It's playing with the delays rather than the actual input signal. The EQ is doing that, and I've got the internal LFO just moving it about at the moment, and the feedback is under control, but you can very easily push that a little bit too hard, and it starts to bloom. And if you can just keep it off that edge, it goes really well. And of course you can calm it down, so there's nothing there, or you can even cut. As I say, it's got an internal LFO which is doing some business. It's got a reverb you can mix in, and it's got this delay which you can't always hear because it sort of loses itself in its cinematicness, which I don't mind at all. But if I was to calm that down, you can also record knob movements, which is not something I've actually done, I don't think. I'm going to sneeze. You're going to have to excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. Where was I? I was enjoying this. But it sort of creates pads out of things, which I really like. There's a lot there when I take the signal out. There's a lot being generated. So anyway, that earns its place is all I'm trying to say. That's good. I haven't got to the actual sound source going through it yet, but that thing by itself is great. I want to keep that. Right. So moving along. The Touring Machine. Now, Touring Machine is one of my first ever modules, and I end up using it all the time. It's just a really simple way of throwing a random melody, throwing a melody of some sort into a thing, you know. Sorry, something's flashing like crazy over there. And at the moment, it's also running percussion. In fact, we'll go into the percussion bit now. I think that'll be interesting. And so it's making this work. There's probably simpler ways to do it, but this thing here is just so interesting. Again, it's Axis Modular again. Well done for being in the chat, mate. That's all working out. But I couldn't quite work out what on earth this was about for quite a while. And now, since I've been using it for percussion, it's become just really sort of an organic, really human way of running some drums. So let's go back to my little Detroit Pink 87 down here, which I do really, really like. Let me clear everything, which is relatively simple. I think. Is that all done? Okay. So back to channel 1. Let's turn everything on. My mutes. I should, with a bit of luck, if I put it into jam mode. Just can't hear anything. Can't hear anything. There we go. So there's my kick drum. People don't like my kick drum. Somebody didn't like my kick drum. Do have quite a bit of reverb on, I suppose. But my drums are being run. Is that on camera? Can you see that? I can't see. Where am I? Here? Yes, okay. I've got 3 little modules from XO. I've got a kick drum, a snare and a hi-hat. Just 808 models, analog, purely analog, remarkably expensive, but little tiny 1U modules. And all you've got is a trigger and an output. You've got a decay and a tone. So I can play with that a little bit if I set that going, stick it into record. I haven't got anything to play along to, so it could be all over the place now. So that's a tone. In answer to Greben's question about the Echo Cinematic replacing a magneto, no, but on the other hand, I could not understand the magneto. I would sometimes get fabulous things from it, and often just I had no idea what I'm doing. I was too baffled to get anything good out of it. In some ways, it gives me that effects hit, that injection of effects that I want, that I hope the magneto would do and never did for me. So I don't know if that's helpful. So decay all the way up. not a whole lot. All the way down, not a whole lot. So in some ways, I'm not sure how great that is. Now, I do have a new thing here, which I'm reviewing for Sound on Sound, which might sort this out, but it's, you know, it's going to be using up space. That's the thing. Now this is the Winter Plankton Daz Brum, like it's a kick drum from Birmingham. Look, that's going to fit in there. Look, do I have a spare cable coming out of here? I do not. Am I going to blow myself up? I probably am. Gosh darn it. Let's put that in a minute. But back to the theory, right, of the drum kit. So that's my kick. I then just wobble across to number 2 and do the snare. And that's it. It's so simple. Can't quite believe it. Then I go number 3 and put some hi-hats in. Oh yeah. I mean, it's taken a clock from Pam, so I could always give that a bit of swing if I wanted to make that slightly something. Can I do that? I don't know how don't know how I do that. Let's have a look, see if I can find it quick. Maybe it's on individual channels. It's probably on individual channels. So if I go to, what's that coming from, did I say? That one, 2. Is there no swing in Pam's Pro? Oh, I've got humanization, there we go. There you go, it's already sounding crap, just like a human being. Yeah, I don't know that was any good. Anyway, so I've got the triggers coming out from 3 channels here. I've got the 4th one going into nothing in particular. What's the 4th one going into? It seems to be going into that. I thought that was 3. Oh, I don't know, it doesn't matter in a minute. So I've got the triggers going into mutes, so not the output, not the sound. I've got the CV going through mutes, so I can mute it all out rather than having to fiddle around down here and trying to clear things and re-record stuff. It's going through mute, so I can just turn it on and off on a whim. Yeah, do you get me? Oh, I remember what 4 is. So then, as I say, I did this clever thing with the snare, where the snare is actually going into this trace module here. Now, trace lets you scan between channels. So in channel 1, I've got the snare from here. If I turn that on, we can hear that. Now in channel 2, I've got the output of the bit buddy. So this is taking these pulses from the Turing machine and sending them through all of these outputs, so you can use those as triggers rather than just using the single pulse output here, which is probably the same as this top one, to be fair. So I could probably just use that, as I'm only using one thing, but I just like how it looks, alright? So I've only just realised that. Okay, so maybe I can also use a bit of space by taking that out. But anyway, like I say, I like how that looks. And that's coming into channel 2. So if I move up to channel 2, it's now being triggered by that. It is the same, isn't it? Oh, you dipstick. if I was using more of this, that might make it even more interesting. Anyway, regardless, if you put it between 1 and 2, I then get both. And that means I've got the underlying beat and then these variations that come on top of it. But I can very quickly get rid of it or put it in. I think that might be what's on channel 4. No, completely nonsense. It's quite effective. So that's the percussion side of it. Simple, easy. This thing I really like, but it is also taking over a lot of space for doing quite a small thing. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's something I can make simpler there, but I don't want to have to overthink it. You know, I want to be able to have the maximum impact and change just by doing a small thing if I can. Yeah, okay, definitely something worth looking at. And also, you know, it's a complicated array of modules. I've got in this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 modules involved. 5 plus the actual sound sources. That's 8. 8 sound sources just in creating kick, snare, and hi-hat. You know, I could be using the DivKid Making Sound Machines Euclid, you know, 4-knob thing. What's it called? It's over here. The div skip. I could be using the div skip, but what I like about this thing is just how quickly I can just stick in a beat and I can change it. If something else is happening, I could stick in something else. You know, very, very easy. Or I could be using these for triggers for envelopes into filters. It's such a versatile, simple, but also restrictive module, because I can't give it variations, I can't get it to do probability. It just is what it is, and it is quantized, and there you have it. So, but that keeps it very quick and easy when you're doing a live performance. That's why that really works for me. But it is using up this chunk of stuff. And also the layout isn't great at the moment. I mean, why do I have this down here and these bits up here? I don't know, this should be up here. Surely this should be, you know, there's a better way of laying that out so it's not quite so all over the place. So I don't think I'm taking anything out from there yet, but I might plug in this if I can find my way in to a spare slot. How am I going to do that? Where are all the slots? They're down, aren't they? So if I pull this out, maybe I can find something. Please don't plug it in with it switched on. Okay, thanks, Andrew. All right, Andrew, stay safe. I like the flashing lights. There's a space. Okay, all right, Andrew. Look, I've turned it off. Okay, I turned it off. Now I want to. Is it? It's got to go down in that way. So I'm not saying that this is going to go there. I just wanted to plug it in to try it out, because this might be the kick drum of the gods. Who knows? I'm always fascinated by a module that does a single percussive sound. I mean, I get it with the little 1U ones because, you know, it's just a little thing and that's working out. But this has got, you know, a ton of modulation and bits and pieces on it, and it's just doing a drum sound. I mean, let alone the mutant machine, what's it, that I've had a go at poorly. Oh, look, there's a... Right, let's get this plugged in. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Could do with smaller hands. Oh no, that's something bad has happened. Good Lord, I never saw that before. No, is it bad? No, it's not bad. Is it bad? I don't know. That's weird. Never seen that before. Alright, that's gone back in. That was weird. I saw a pin. Oh dear. Alright, now is it going to blow up? No, we're still going. Okay, good. Lights are still on. This has now left me with a single HP gap. Oh no, that's bad. That is. What's supposed to do with that? So this is my first play with the Daz drum. Let's see what we can do with it. So if I come from one's going to there. Let's take that out. Trigger. And I need an out. It's been currently coming from that. Is that going to reach? Nope. So this should be coming from number 1 over here. Like that. That's quite nice. nice. Now, one thing which I wanted to experiment with was using the drums through a filter, because I'm not set up to do that, and I was thinking that if I had some kind of tilt filter or DJ filter, rather than just dropping stuff in and out on the mutes, I could potentially filter one way or the other in order to do something slightly more interesting. So for that you need a multi-mode filter. I happen to have one here, the black and blue, that maybe I should try that out. So that's the output of that. I just need to plug that into the input of this. There we are. I don't know, is that interesting? I don't know. Kind of it is. Is that more interesting? Than just turning them on and off in the first place? Alright, well, I tried it out. And that's as far as we got with that. Okay, time is running on. Okay, alright, yeah, okay. Oh no, mate! The Molten sorry, Can't speak. Labworks, no, the Molten Motion Meter is a fabulous. This is an easy build because I've done such a fabulous job on the video showing you how to do it. So that shouldn't be any bother to you whatsoever. I would say. No, it's good. It's a good solid kit. Don't forget to leave some sonic space for your band, mate. No, it's all about me, you fool. A phase effect? Yeah. Okay, so I don't know. That's something I'm going to continue to work on, I think. Oh look, my this is falling out. Let's pop that back in there, shall we? So the Daz Drum, yeah, I mean it certainly has an interesting array of kick drums in there, different things. Do I need that? Am I going to play with that? Is it nice to drop a kick in there? As Mr. Wiggly would say. I don't know. I mean, what I liked about when I started off with the little jam I did at the beginning was just how the percussion sat in there nicely without overwhelming, without being too stupid. It was kind of muddy enough to lend something to it without overly doing things, and I quite like that. Right, let's going to go to the second row. Oh, just over here on this side of the case I've got the stereo reverb from Erica Synths, which I really like. That could stay. However, if I am running out of space, running out of brain cells, I could take this out and then just have a pedal. I've got the chroma pedal thingy, which has got a decent reverb on, as well as other things potentially I could use. I could stick the reverb in a pedal. Do I need a reverb considering I'm playing a gig in a big church? No. Probably not, but I like it nonetheless. It's like a safety place. So maybe, I got a great big dent out of it there. How did that happen? A chip. So yeah, I don't have anything smaller which sounds as good for that. So as I say, I might drop that to a pedal. Or if I do bring another row, I could have that in that other row along with a sequencer. I think that's going to just get too complicated. I have to keep it simple. Have to keep it simple. And this is a DPW mixer, which I like a lot. I'm not sure that it's the answer yet that I've always been looking for. It's pretty decent. I don't fully understand the limiter side of it. Not quite sure whether it's on or off half the time, but it's 4 stereo channels, simple, sounds good, and is enough. It is enough. I was looking at a Ladic one, which has an aux on it, which might be simpler, better to use. It is slightly crowded, and I have to route fully through the reverb as opposed to having an aux going through the reverb. Is that a problem or not? Again, you see, I'm just thinking, but it's been very, very useful. But I do like, and have in the past, used a nice big, my BX mixer from Feedback, which is 6 channels of lovely mixing. Whereas this is a bit fiddly, it doesn't have mute switches, so I'm having to turn things on and off by using the filter cut-offs and things like that. But that's not a terrible thing either. You kind of making do in the sort of size that you have. Right, just moving on to the synths then. As I say, I don't want to go past 10 o'clock into Jason's pajama party. Where are we? Over here. Okay, there we go. Over here. So on this side of things, I've got a little tuner module, which I think is very useful in a gig situation, particularly if you're jamming with somebody. I've got Alex of the Pony VCO, which is doing a great job of being exactly what it needs to be. Just a lovely sounding analog oscillator that's not taking up any space, hardly. I can octave switch it, which is great. That's really, really useful. It's got a little bit of wave folding, kind of pulse width modulation going on, which is cool. And I have that going through the Sunless City, which is my favourite current filter. Lovely transistor cascade filter, as it's called, which just sounds gorgeous, easily manipulable. It does have 2 channels, so I could get something else in there. This is going just through the filter and then into the delay effect and then out, not using the veils whatsoever, which is interesting. But what I am using is this, which is the Envy machine from RYK. Now this, I've just used it sort of surface level at the moment. There's a lot more to it, but I will be doing a review for Sound and Sound, so I'm going to need to look into it a bit more. But essentially it's a 4-channel modulator, which can be ADSR or AD or LFOs. Pretty much, I think that's more or less it. I'm using it, I believe, as 2 envelopes, I think. So if I turn that bit on, we'll have a little play. So I need to set it running. Let's kill that for the moment. Oh, it is just there, look. Yeah, that's so nice, and again it's coming from the Octone that I've clocked with a bit of some Euclidean steps, I think. I've just got this going in. And with this you've got your endless encoders, but essentially give me just an AD envelope. Got lovely displays here showing you what's going on. So easy, easy, easy. I don't know what that is now. And that of course is going through my delay up there. Now what I can do is use my quad strip. Now this is a fantastic little module which gives me a light strip control over something. So if I want to play a bit of a solo, I can do that. At the moment it doesn't have its own oscillator, so I've been disconnecting the Pony and using that. So from, if I take that out of there and put that into out 1 there, I can then play that like a theremin. But of course that's terrible. So I wouldn't do that, would I? That would be rubbish. So instead what I would do is I'd go through a quantizer. Now my quantizer is not in the right place. Cut the long cables. So the quantizer I'm using is all the way over here for reasons I can't explain at the moment. Oh no, I can use that cable. And then take the out of that back into I can also use the gate output to run the envelope. And I can also record it. So this could be an ideal place to use something like the Surface, something like a different sort of sound, in order to bring something in, to play it live, but then also potentially to let it cycle. It has a reset, so you can, because you're never going to play it right in time with your sequence or whatever's going on. But there's a reset that you can send it, so I can send it an occasional pulse just to get it back onto track, that sort of thing. So this is kind of why I want another voice in there, so I don't have to repatch. Now we're talking. I'm starting to enjoy myself again now. So look, the answer to the percussion was to stick it through the Echo Cinematic, obviously. Alright, running out of time. This is too much fun, that's the problem. Okay, so either using this, or using the Octone, or using the 7th Summoner, all of these options to go into the Pony VCA to create sound, you know, I need to decide what it is I'm going to use. I mean, the quad strip's going to stay around regardless, because it's such, you know, if I have no other ideas, I can just plug that in and just noodle, and it's a lovely thing, you know, through a nice little delay with a nice filter. It just finds beautiful things. Quantized, of course. My quantizer's over here. I need to bring that back here. I usually use it with the Touring Machine, which is why it's sort of closer to that. So just need to bring that together a little bit, I think. But this thing is working. I have a rubbish selection of envelopes, and this is actually as good as anything, even though I don't know it very well yet. But just be able to use AD envelopes very simply into that is brilliant. That works. I can see it. I can hear it. That's fine. My other voice is this here, the Carone from Knob Technology, strangely named thing. It's an oscillator. It's got what has it got? Soft and hard something or other, I can't remember. It's got some sort of wave folding and noise inside. It can move from one waveform to another, which gives some really nice changes to it. If I get this plugged back in quickly, and we'll finish it there. So at the moment I've got the drums plugged into there. That's the problem. That's what I'm not getting. So there she is. And I've got this being triggered from the Harp of Darkness. So if I stick a bunch of notes in, that should then start working. Sounds very organ-like, doesn't it? There's noise over there. Oh, that's the sub, I think. But it's very loud, but has a lot of meat to it and a lot of interest through the changing of things, potentially the modulation of things. And I got this running through the black and blue filter at the moment, which can be either a ladder, state variable, or the other one, a SEM filter. And this should also be being enveloped by this going into there. There we go. So where's that getting its trigger from? Down there, 5 apparently. So if I go to channel 4, that seems to be an ADSR. Let's sort that out. I usually have absolutely no idea how to use an ADSR. I prefer ADs every time. How do I get that to be a thing? I wonder. I can't quite remember. Oh, never mind. Anyway, I'll have to work that out. It's on the right channel. That's the whole channel. Ooh. Got something going on there. That's interesting. Oh, they also tap. Whatever's happening is not happening. But anyway, using the upper darkness is just a really simple way of adding notes to something. And it has a lot of tonal flavours, so that's definitely a keeper, and it looks nice also. So I think that's probably the best place to leave it for the minute, because I could do this all night, and it's been really useful personally to have a look through it a little bit, because it's got my mind going again, considering my mind has been out of itself for the last week. There's me again. Look at that. Oh yes, yes. I was bleeding a little bit earlier. No, it's going to go really close. Ah, sorry about that. Let's just stop that. Okay. Gosh, I'm a state. Really am. Unbelievable. So there we are. There we are. That's a fiddle around with my current thoughts, my current ideas on a simple single case system. For which I currently have some 3 channels of percussion, 2 channels of sound, and too many ways of sequencing. But I'm going to sort that out. I definitely seem to have recorded the knob movements there, which is interesting. Very interesting. Do I go for the Daz Drum as the kick drum, or is that just using up space for something which I do already have a thing for? Is a question. Should I dig out the piano What's It from Modular to see whether that can give me an interesting sound? That's a thought. Might be a good one. Or I could bring in something like the Choral, which has got multi-sampled sounds in it. Or, of course, the Disting. I don't know. I do not know. But I have 2 weeks. So I'm pretty confident that within here, I've got something that I can use. I just feel that I just need something. I need something else. But I think the veils can come out because I don't ever use it. So that's going to create me some space. I could potentially get the plasma voice in there because it can be very, very interesting thing to add in. If I don't put that in, then I guess I could rely on the surface or something of that nature. But I mean, I'm a simple person, simple needs. It's just what I'm agonizing over really is the sequencer, whether the octone brings enough by itself, because you can just sort of let it go while you're thinking about something else to do. Whereas the seventh summoner would make me think like I've got to program it, got to come up with a thing, got to come up with a riff. Harp of Darkness, easy way to add anything to something. Quad strip is an easy way to play lead, a beautiful way to play lead. So really, my decision process now is whether the octone stays or goes or halves itself. Can I squeeze in another voice? Will that be enough? Those are my questions. Cool, there you go. Well, we'll more or less leave it there. Look, it's 5:02. I'm just gonna get that right. So yeah, lots to do. I'm sorry about the lack of videos recently. I've just lost a week to the dog, which is slightly maddening, but also wonderful. So pros and cons. But I'm overflowing with things I can be talking about, making videos on. I'd like to do that very soon. Particularly the next thing that's going to happen, because I've only got it on loan for a short period of time, is the Eurobus from Audioscape over here, which is a proper bit of audio equipment that you can't see. Where is my hand on there? There you go. That you can't see, which is a compressor, and I've only got it for a few more days, so I need to do a video on that and write it up. And that's a very cool, very high pro level piece of gear. It's very exciting. So there's that. I've got a wonderful kit to build. The Audrey 2. I have that to build. That's kind of my highest priority, but I'm going to have to get this audio bus thing done first. So I've got those to do. I've got the NV to do, which I'm looking at there, and the Daz Brum to do. Those things in particular are pressing at the moment. I've then got the Mantis sitting over there staring at me, and countless other things that I could be getting on with, which I need to be doing as soon as I can. Got a wonderful Jolin Labs module over there I need to build. I keep forgetting about. Lots and lots and lots. Lots of DIY, but bugger all time is the difficulty as ever. But there we go. So thanks very much for you need an assistant. Yeah, I do. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for sticking with me this Sunday evening. A whole week's panning out in front of us. I've now got to go and put the dog to bed and try to get it to sleep all night so that I can also. And you never know, might get it to have a wee outside. That'll be exciting. That'll be not a first, thankfully. Something we need to do. So I'm going to get on with all of that. Good. Any last questions? Good to have you along, Milky. You've got a lot of commentary going on, which is nice. Yeah, Paulie's still playing. I mean, Synth East wise, we're almost sold out now. So if you haven't bought your tickets, you might well be too late. You really, really might well be too late. I will check on Monday and see where we are. I don't really have a sampler module. I do have the sample slicer. That's a little bit more of a live seat of your pants kind of thing. I do have a disting, but I don't understand it enough in order to use it effectively. But I could. There's a possibility that I could try to do that at some point. There just has to be an easier way, doesn't there? That's my thoughts on that. Cool. So yeah, that'll do. Thanks very much. I'll hope to squeeze out a couple of videos this month before we hit into March and the next Molten Monthly. And I'm trying to think there's anything else that's pressing at the moment. No, I don't think that'll do. So cool. In the meantime and all that, go and make some tunes, and I'll see you. I'm not even going to play you out because I've confused myself too much on that now. I'll just play the outro music, and I will see you soon. I wonder which one it is. I think is it that one? No, that one. No, that's the one. Miracles. That's that one. This one? No. That's the one. All right, I'm going to merge that in then. Cool. You take care now. See you soon.